William Graham Sumner coined the term ethnocentrism in 1906 in his book Folkways. The idea was that human behavior is largely shaped on custom, social expectation, and tradition, hence the term folkways. Violating the folkways was a sure way to face social rejection or even punishment. He also argued that every group sees its own customs as normal and moral. In his own words, ethnocentrism is the technical term for this view of things in which one's own group is the center of everything, and all others are scaled and rated with reference to it. In the 1970s, Henry Tajfel wanted to explore exactly how little it took for people to show in-group preference. Was it based on discrimination for very real and reasonable things like conflicts based on resource scarcity? Or was it something like stereotypes caused by tribal order and familial feuds? For the experiment, Tajfel took various boys from different British schools who did not know each other, and he showed them paintings by Paul Klee and Vasily Kandinsky. They were then told, you are a Klee person or you are a Kandinsky person. They were then asked to distribute things like points, money, and tokens, essentially rewards. What they found was what you would think, which was that they consistently favored their own in-group. What was unique, though, was something that Tajfel coined the maximum differentiation strategy. He observed that boys were accepting less overall if it meant that the out-group would receive even less than they did. In 2010, there was a major follow-up to Tajfel's work. They even mentioned his study in there. The paper was called Neural Responses to In-Group and Out-Group Members Suffering Predict Individual Differences in Costly Helping. The paper used hardcore European football fans and MRI brain imaging. Essentially, participants were put inside an MRI machine and shown videos of both members of their out-group and in-group receiving painful stimulation. Then the parts of the brain that are responsible for empathy response were observed. Consistently, the scans found increased blood flow and neural activation when the participants saw a member of their group suffering, as opposed to seeing the suffering of an out-group member. At least part of the whole in-group preference thing is subconscious as well. In 2015, Pew Research did a study where they surveyed the participants beforehand and asked them questions about race and attitude towards it. They made sure that they included questions to highlight the people that said that they had no attitudes toward race and held no prejudice or bias. They were then given implicit association tests where they were under time pressure and they needed to pair white faces and black faces with negative or positive words like pain, peace, excitement, pleasure, etc. What they found was the same in-group preferences that you would expect. Negative words paired with members of the out-group and positive words paired with members of the in-group, even for people that said that they had no out-group or in-group preferences beforehand in the survey.